Hey everyone, it's me Josh. Welcome to Story Time. Today we're reading Mr. Clever by Roger Hargreaves in the Little Men Library. The Mr. Men Library. What I meant to say is we're going to be eventually getting onto the Little Miss Library as well. So stick around for that because that'll be lots of fun stories as well. Alright, get comfortable, get ready wherever you are because we're about to delve into Story Time. That's right. Here we go. Mr. Clever was quite the cleverest person ever. The cleverest person in the world. And he knew it. "Oh, I am so very, very clever," he used to say. To himself, more often than not. He lived in Cleverland, where, as you may know, everybody and everything is as clever as can be. That's Mr. Clever in the mirror, clearly telling himself, "I'm so clever." In Cleverland, clever trees managed to grow apples and oranges at the same time. That sounds really cool. A 2-in-1 tree like that can pick apples and oranges. In Cleverland, clever flowers get up and go for a walk. That flower's roots are walking like feet. Nice. Clever worms drive around in cars all day. Nice. And clever elephants play tennis. Wow. Isn't that cool? Oh yes, Cleverland is quite the most clever place. Would you like to live there? Mr. Clever does. "Oh, I am so very, very clever to build such a clever house," he used to go around telling everybody. Well, I wouldn't say that house is very clever. It's interesting. One morning, Mr. Clever was awakened by a special Mr. Clever alarm clock. Not only did it wake you up by ringing a bell, it also switched on a light and said, "Good morning," and made a cup of tea, and showed whatever the weather was going to be, and told you the time, and showed you the date. It also whistled cheerfully while it was doing all of that. It's a cool alarm clock. Nice. Mr. Clever yawned, got up, washed, cleaned his teeth with his special Mr. Clever toothbrush, which squeezed toothpaste onto the brush out of the handle. Wow. And went downstairs for breakfast. He popped a slice of bread into his special Mr. Clever electric toaster, which not only toasted the bread but also spread the butter and marmalade and cut off the crusts. Wow. Mr. Clever. All the reasons to just be happy there, laying in bed, stoked. After breakfast, he went for a long walk, an extremely long walk. In fact, such a long walk that he walked all the way out of Cleverland, although he didn't know it. He met somebody who was also out for a walk. Do you know who it was? Does that look like Mr. Happy? Yeah? That's right, Mr. Happy. "Hello," cried Mr. Clever. "I'm the cleverest person in the world." "Oh, good," said Mr. Happy. "Then you must be clever enough to make up a really good joke to tell me." He laughed. "Jokes make me happy," he explained. Mr. Happy. A happy chappy. That's good. Mr. Clever's face fell. "I don't know any jokes," he admitted. "Oh, that's not very clever of you, is it?" said Mr. Happy, and went off. Mr. Clever went on. And do you know who he met next? He doesn't look super happy there. He's like, "Wow, I thought I was the most clever person in the world." That's right. He met Mr. Greedy now. There we go. Wonder what he's going to talk to Mr. Greedy about. Let's find out. "Hello," cried Mr. Clever. "I'm the cleverest person in the world." "Oh, good," said Mr. Greedy. "Then you can tell me the recipe of the world's most delicious dish." He licked his lips. "I like food," he explained. Mr. Clever's face fell. "I can't cook," he admitted, "and I don't know any recipes." "Well, that's not very clever of you, is it?" said Mr. Greedy and went off in search of food. Mr. Clever went on. And who do you think he met next? He's got a little bit of a frown happening again. And who is that? Mr. Forgetful. Hello, Hello, cried Mr. Clever. I'm the cleverest person in the world. Oh, good, said Mr. Forgetful. Then you can tell me what my name is. He smiled apologetically. I've forgotten, he explained. Mr. Forgetful and Mr. Clever chatting away. Mr. Clever's face fell for the third time that morning. But I don't know your name, he admitted. We've only just met. Well, that's not very clever of you, is it? Said Mr. Forgetful, and he too went off, forgetting to say goodbye. Oh no, poor Mr. Clever doesn't look very happy at all now. And so it went on all day. Mr. Clever couldn't tell Mr. Sneeze the cure for a cold, and he couldn't tell Mr. Small how he could grow bigger, and he couldn't tell Mr. Jelly what the secret of being brave was. Sometimes I read so fast I skip a lot of words. And he couldn't tell Mr. Topsy-Turvy how to talk the right way. I mean the right way around. A not very clever day. Not at all. Not a bit. And by now he wasn't feeling anything like the cleverest person in the world. Mr. Clever decided he'd better go back home. He passed a pair of worms who were having a chat. Who's that? Asked one worm. That, replied the other worm, is Mr. Clever, the cleverest person in the world, on his way home to Cleverland. The first worm thought. He can't be that clever, he replied. He's going the wrong way. Well, that's Mr. Clever. All done and done for today. Thank you so much for reading the story. I hope you liked it. I'll be back again with another story really soon. Bye for now, but not forever. Make sure you click that subscribe button below if you like it. Alright.